Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Now, I'm going to be short with the introduction because I made a mistake. So, we're going to be covering JLA number 29 by Grant Morrison, John Dell. Sorry, Howard Porter and John Dell. But I accidentally recorded number 30 and skipped over 29 because when I was looking, I thought I saw 29, but I actually have not recorded 29. So you're going to get two videos. So you're going to get the introduction on number 30. I apologize about that, but I guess you'll get a double video and this time here. So, all right, here we go. Cover. Nice cover here. Captain Marvel against Superman. Now, part of it is so I have all these stories and I haven't read them in forever. So when I was going through 30, I was like, I don't remember this this happening, and it's because I ended up skipping. So, here we go. All right. Beyond the walls of common space and time lies the infinite. And this man should not exist, and yet now he threatens all reality. This is Triumph, once the founder of Earth's Justice League, then cast adrift in time to return, forgotten, humiliated. So just sort of so that you know, Triumph is sort of like, oh my gosh, what is that hero Marvel created? The Sentry. That it turns out he was always there, you just didn't know about it. So that is what Triumph is. Um, like feel free to check out the DC fans page that'll be linked at the bottom of the video to if you want to know more about Triumph. So, I believe we have the Phantom Stranger here say he fell of his own accord, and Triumph, in his envy, has let loose the dreadful power contained in one of these artifacts, the so-called Jinn that's set to wreck creation. And one of the Green Lantern Guardians says, the second artifact is now in possession of an Earth child. The powers of the entity it contains is also beyond calculation. Our numerical system has no means of describing such orders of magnitude. My analysis of the situation suggests that it may be too late to prevent the two Jinn entities from clashing and threatening the universal grid. Please, if I may speak plainly here, Earth and its people would be helpless before a dedicated attack from the Jinn realm, but there is still hope. My champion may yet turn the tide. So this would be the Wizard of Shazam. And so this would be Shazam, who's also Captain Marvel. So, and so here we have 5 Eternals who maintain a timeless vigil over all that is, the quintessence. So, a storm blows in from beyond, and Earth's great defenders must each weather it as best as they can. The drama unfolds. Look. So, all right, let's see if I can tell you who everybody here is. So, this is the Wizard of Shazam, the Phantom Stranger. This is Ganthet here. This is Zeus, the Greek god. And then the guy with this little staff here is Highfather from the New Gods. So here we have the JLA. The world has become the toy of a lunatic god. We've got Green Lantern, Batman, Plastic Man. I love how he's wrapped around the Huntress here. And both Wally West Flash and then the original Flash here. Now I made no mention of this in the second video. Wonder Woman is Hippolyta, the mother. So Crisis times 5, Part 2, World Turned Upside Down. So, and Jay Garrick says, that thing, what's happening? That's not Johnny's Thunderbolt. And Flash, they're both Flash. Wally West says, "The kid's got a thunderbolt, Jay. What am I seeing? Nothing's making sense. Ah, the kid from the bank." And you can see here everything's going weird. "Oh my god, stop that kid, Jay. I didn't do it, I didn't do it," he says. And Jay says, "Wildcat, Huntress, get that boy. We'll stall the genie." And Huntress says, I can't handle this. Nothing's solid. I'm gonna be sick," she says. And Wildcat says, "The Union suit means we're the guys who don't throw up when the world goes nuts, honey. Grit your teeth and come on. I can't do this without you," says Wildcats here. And you can see the kid kind of running. And Green Lantern Kyle Rayner says, "Oh no, oh man, it's okay, it's okay. Everybody's safe in here. They can't get through walls." And they're like, "Don't go, you can't go, Green Lantern." And so we got these huge roaches here. I have a phobia of roaches. I don't like them, so look at this building. That's kind of cool. "What? Oh man, what am I looking at? What's it doing?" says Green Lantern. "My wife's turning into ice cream. She's dying in the sun. Help me. For God's sakes, help." So I like Howard Porter, and I love how look at these thick lines that John Dell does. Howard Porter now inks himself, but I love it. This is quintessential 90s. I know that this is from 99, but man, oh man, I thought he was DC's best artist at that time. So that was before Jim Lee. That was before a lot of things. So, and the building laughs at Green Lantern here. You can see that's a great. And so here we got Plastic Man being, he's comedic relief. So, "Hey teacher, leave those kids alone. You want surrealism? Try dueling with the champ." And the genie in the building says, "I look down on the flat world of time and space from heights your language has no names for. My power here is beyond infinite. What are you to me?" he says. And Plastic Man all of a sudden goes, "I'll stick to your fingers like gum, ya fru." And then all of a sudden he can't speak anymore as he begins to scream here. And then closes his fist on him. And he makes him into stone. And Green Lantern's like, "Plastic Man, oh no, no way." And so here come the two Flashes, Jay Garrick and Wally West. And Jay Garrick says, "The wall of pressurized debris won't contain that thing for long. If it has powers like the Thunderbolt, we're totally in trouble, Wally." And Flash says, or sorry, Wally West Flash says, "Jay, there's something's flickering near the base frequencies of the Speed Force wall. Strobe with me, you'll see." And Jay says, "Good Lord, will you look at that? The surface of that fifth dimension, Wally, is drawing its power from there. Batman's theory was right." He's always right. So, he goes, "Slow down, warn GL before it." They're speaking quickly, but you can see that it's grabbed it. He's saying, "It's all, it's all, folding up into," and then I think this is gibberish. So, and so they call out his name, Kyle. And so now we're at the JLA Watchtower here. Superman says, "We've lost Green Lantern and Plastic Man. A 5-dimensional entity is devastating downtown Keystone City. Steel's on his way to take my place here. I'm going to find a way into the 5th dimension and put an end to this before any more lives are lost." And then Superman continues here. "Our man, your time vision foretold Captain Marvel joining us in a war. Have you any idea how long we have?" And Our Man says, Curious, you should mention Captain Marvel, Superman. I'm afraid he arrived in the lunar surface 11 seconds ago." And he says, "What?" Um, and our man says he's saying, "Open the airlock. I'd like to come in." I know. Open the airlock. So and now we've got in New York, we have Triumph here, and he's speaking here. It's a weird story. My life's been one weird story after another. Anyway, I found a genie. I guess that's him on TV causing trouble in Keystone. I needed the JLA out of the way for a little while, so I just let him go crazy. I arranged to meet you all here so that we could take a moment to celebrate. Here's to the Justice League, he says. Now he's got these two guys kind of captive here. And so this is Ray and Gypsy. So Triumph continues here. See, you and Ray were my league. Sorry, were my league, Gypsy. The losers nobody remembered or cared about when the headliners climbed back to the stage like it was a Beatles reunion. But all things must pass. And so you can see that they're under his control here. And Triumph continues here. I don't like Gypsy. I just figured out you might not agree with the motivation, so I forgot to mention the mind control aspect of our partnership. Let's go. Um, let's go live on the moon now, he says here. So, all right. So in the astral boundary here, we got Zariel and Sentinel, who's the original Green Lantern. The name Sentinel's dumb, but whatever. All right. Sentinel says, that's quite a sight. The rock he's embedded, it must be in 1,000 miles across. Whoever imprisoned the Spectre here was pretty serious. Power on this scale isn't available from anywhere. I know. See, says Zariel. Oh, sorry. Zariel had, my bad here. Zariel had mentioned the scales meaningless in weight. Something moved on the peak. So, all right. Sentinel says, it's playing a game with us. Whatever it is, it's smart plus, and it's invading the universe by taking the big players first. And Zariel says, all of this, the animals, the ecology, it's alive, growing. Sentinel, we've been completely outmaneuvered. We can't free the Spectre without destroying all this. They've trapped him in a living, breathing micro-world. And Sentinel says, one step at a time. That's actually pretty cool. Grant Morrison, when he's writing, he is at different scales, man. He is writing so freaking... It's kinetic. I don't know how I would describe Grant Morrison. I don't know if there's any words to describe Grant Morrison's style. And so this kid curses a lot here. We're back in Keystone City. And the pen is talking to him because there's, of course, a genie trapped in there. Okay. And so this is one of the Thunderbolts here, which was a genie. And so... he sees all this, so he's gonna let him out here, and the kid cusses a lot. So, all right, Wildcat and Huntress here. Huntress says there was a woman made of water back there. Wildcat, I'm terrified. I'm out of my depth. And Wildcat says, just keep moving. We're doing fine. When life gets weird, my advice is to roll with the punches and hope you're standing at the final count. And Wildcat continues, right now, the only way we're going to help these people is to find the kid. Looks like the Flashes threw up a cordon. He can't get far. Oh my God, says Huntress. There, can you see that? Something's coming through. What is it? What do we do? And Wildcat says, it's okay. The JSA signal doesn't ring often. When it does, every active member answers the call. There may be only 4 of the old gang left, but here comes the cavalry. In the blue corner, Hippolyta, Queen of the Amazon. This would be Wonder Woman's mother. And she says, you're a difficult man to reach, Ted Grant. Huntress, How are you, my dear? The situation is grave, I take it. Hippolyta. Oh, thank God, she says. And so here we are at the JLA watchtower, and we've got Superman and Captain Marvel here. And Superman says, "You know you're always welcome, Bill. I'm sorry it has to be in the midst of an emergency like this one." And Captain Marvel says, "That's why I'm here, Superman. I have evidence that Earth is about to come under attack from another dimension. Two of them are already here on Earth. They call themselves genies." And so, here they go. "I know so far we think these jinn are probably incredibly powerful imps, much like Mr. Oh my gosh, how the heck do I say that? All right, I'm gonna try it again. Mr. Mixyezpidalik. Okay. Um that is quite Mixyezpidalik. All right. Fifth dimension. They share his reality warping ability. And Superman says, one of the two also happens to be Thunderbolt, Johnny's Thunder, magical ally from the Second World War. And Superman says, your experience in more irrational areas could be vital here, Bill. A Justice League team is in serious danger down there, and if the fifth dimension decides to attack en masse, we don't stand a chance. We have to find a way to contact. Oh my goodness, here we go again. Mix yes Pitalik world before that happens. But look at Captain Marvel. He's about to punch Superman. I thought of something on the way here. I can access the fifth dimension from the Rock of Eternity. Superman, I'm sorry about this. So, pow, or more, quoom, as he punches him with his might. And great panel here. And Superman's like, with a question like, what? Bill. And then here comes Captain Marvel. He calls him Bill because of Billy Batson. So, they were all on a first name basis during this time, which I find annoying for some reason. But, and Our Man shows up and says, not many people can do that. And Captain Marvel says, I got lucky, and he's vulnerable to magic. Holy moly, if I feel low, but if something goes wrong in the fifth dimension, the Earth's going to need Superman much more than it needs me. So, great panel here as he sort of stands over Superman. Oh, beautiful panel here. I hope you won't try to stop me, says Captain Marvel. And Our Man says, on the contrary, this moment was scheduled to occur. So, scheduled? Wait a minute. Our Man, surely with your time powers, you can help me undo all this. And Our Man says, time is merely the fourth dimension. Our enemies are creatures from the fifth. Their abilities are as far beyond mine as mine are beyond yours. Additionally, in exactly a minute, I will make the decision to remain here in the watchtower. And Captain Marvel says, what? You're master of time, aren't you? You could fix everything. And he says, Our Man says, I'm afraid that's not true in this case. As I said, I'm about to make a very important decision. In fact, the more I consider it, the more obvious it's becoming. My place is here, Captain Marvel. Call it an intuition. And Captain Marvel says, I guess time's different for you, but from where I'm standing, it's looking kind of short. I'd love to talk when this is all over. And off he goes. But I have a date with the fifth dimension. Great panel, great action pose there. It looks awesome. Howard Porter could draw. So we got the quintessence here. And Zeus says, did you not warn him, Shazam? He must not go alone into chaos. And the wizard says, he will not be alone. The strands are woven ever tighter, continues the wizard. And Ganthet said, Captain Marvel's mission to the transgeometric dimension exhibits favorable probabilities. However, his departure leaves the lunar watchtower undefended. And Our Man says, Steel, is that? And then he questions, why can't I see what's about to occur? It's you, the blind spot in time, the man who shouldn't exist. Your presence in all of this has clouded my time sight. And Triumph says, don't talk to me like that. We haven't met. I'm the new boss, and you can be sure I exist. As he um, puts like an energy or electrocutes him, or however you would like to. After all these years, the throne's mine. This is just the way it should have happened 10 years ago. So now we announce ourselves to the world. Then we save Keystone City and humiliate the league by stripping their powers and taking their place as the greatest. Triumph. Alarms ringing. Someone's just teleported aboard. And here comes Steel. All station defense systems active. This is Steel. Get me immediate status data. Identify and pacify intruders. And Triumph says, we can identify ourselves. Love this shot of Steel. We're the new GLA. Bad neighborhood, Steel. And so here comes Wonder Woman, and she's using her shield to cut these things. She's like dirty harpies. And Huntress says, but it's slowing down. The skyline's stopping, buckling, and changing. And Wildcat says, she's right. The craziness is closing in like a ring. And Huntress says, it's the boy. I found him. And so have they. You say he can stop this? Asks Huntress. And Wonder Woman says, if he summons the Thunderbolt. And Wildcat says he's got about 30 seconds summoning time, and I still don't see any pink lightning. Back in the old days, Doc Fate would have waved his amulet and saved the day. Well, we have girls for that now, Ted. And and Huntress says, distract the genie. I'll get the boy. And the genie says, I'm going to be really calm, JJ. Do something! So, and JJ asks, what do I do? And here comes Huntress and grabs him. And they, are they going through this wall? This isn't very clear, but I would imagine that. Distract the genie, huh? Just give me one good punch, says Wildcat. Dad, something puzzles me. The Speed Force keeps Jay young. I'm immortal, and Alan had 50 years stripped from him. How can you be doing this in your 70s? And he says, I'll tell you as soon as we're drinking champagne back at the clubhouse. Look out, he says. Suffering Sappho, I can't hold back. Ted's God's preserve us. I can't, as we got, what was it? Lynx, I believe was his name. And the Thunderbolt says, JJ. And JJ is like, she just saved me. And Lynx says, I can taste my enemy. Where? Get your hands off all these people. And then this is back in the day. Instead of bad words, they would say this. I'm going to kick your ass back to the 51st dimension. Say you. And so here we go. Releasing the Thunderbolt. And great. Again, another good panel here. Lix, you've overstayed your welcome here. Yees. At last, a battle to crack open the firmament and shatter the stars. And Wonder Woman says, merciful Minerva. And Huntress says, I think we've made a mistake. So that actually concludes issue 29. So when I start issue 30, again, I did that first. So you're going to hear the intro all over again. I apologize for that. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the DC fan site that'll have plots, synopsis, and character bios for this issue. JLA number 30 from 1999. Now, I may finish out the story arc and then be done with JLA. It just doesn't get too much play, and it's really sad because these are actually pretty good issues, but it seems that most of the people that listen to me are Marvel people and don't care at all for DC. Every time I tried Jeff Johns' Flash. Other than Batman, if it's there's nothing from DC that gets any play. Um, and I just don't know. I don't know. I just think people don't care about DC comics that much, and that's a shame because older DC stuff is actually pretty good. There's some DC stuff that's really, really good. I'm not saying DC has made, that everything with DC is good. Um, but some of the stuff that I show you, I think, is pretty good, like that DC Comics, but there's just nothing from DC that gets too much play in the channel here. So this issue is written by Grant Morrison, penciled by Howard Porter, and John Dell does the inks. And so we start out kind of with Triumph sort of beating up on Steel here. And Triumph says, "It's the little things. I should have been famous as one of the original JLA. Instead, I get lost in time and come back to find myself making up the numbers on the loser squadron. Who did my JLA fight? Can you even remember? Terrorists and idiots in bad costumes, small scale space maniacs." And here you can see him, like I said, tossing. This is very early on in computer coloring. Um, we didn't even get real costumes. You people save the world on a daily basis. You get the chance to look good against galactic supervillains. And Steel says, "See your doctor." And Triumph goes, "Nobody cheered when we won. Everybody loves you." And he, again, pushes Steel through that wall. You can see, oof. And it's the sheer injustice of it. And here you can see Triumph doing something here, kind of cutting into Steel's armor here, and then just tosses him out into, I would say, like mannequins of the other Justice League. Anyway, he says that's what makes me angry, and the title is Worlds Beyond. The credit would have been here, but for some reason they did not include the credits in the collection that I'm using. But I have all these issues. Um, I thought they were pretty cool when they came out. It was probably some of the best stuff DC was doing during this time. So Triumph says, "It's not personal. Gypsy, Ray, get him out of there and lock him up. It won't be long now. You'll see I was right when you're chanting when they're chanting our names in the streets, and I won't have to control your minds anymore." And Ray says, "Triumph, nobody's here. Steel is gone." And Triumph is angry here. You can see that. The Watchtower security systems are flooding my hypersenses. Let's disable those first. We'll land Steel later. Without the armor, he's nothing," says Triumph. "We're in the moon. Where can he go?" So, look at him. Pretty similar to what they did with Wolverine in the, oh my goodness, the Dark Phoenix saga when they were fighting the Hellfire Club, except Wolverine has powers. Steel has none. Um, as far as the art, I actually do enjoy Howard Porter a lot. Um, I think this part here with the inking around the finger, I don't care for that part very much, but it's pretty 90s how the figure is constructed. This is typical 90s. Um, so what more can I say? Like I said, a lot of computer coloring was starting to become the norm, which is what we have now. So this is the start of the modern comic book, and even the writing style is the modern comic book. Warren Ellis, Grant Morrison, Mark Miller. They don't give us any exposition. They don't say any. They just kind of give you this thing and try to let you figure it out, which is fine. But sometimes you get confused and you gotta like, wait, what? And then kind of try to make sense of it. So you can say that in spelling things out, it's that that it's okay to sometimes say, hey, we're here in this city, or we're like, if you remember, through the conversation, they let you know that they're in the JLA watchtower and they're on the moon and all that kind of stuff. So they kind of give you the location over, but sometimes they didn't even do that. So all right. Statues of themselves, says Triumph. Who makes these? Superman? Flash? You can see him kind of melting them off here. This place needs new blood. Let's go see how my genie's doing. We want the threat to be enormous before we show up to save the day. And you can see Steel going through, and he's like, only 700 yards to go, Irons. And one step at a time. So I think if I remember, I think his name is Jeremy Irons. I could be wrong on his first name. John Henry Irons. That's what it was. So, all right, now we're in Keystone City. And so Green Lantern got sucked into the fifth dimension. Plastic Man's been turned to stone. And we now have two genies going crazy. And so here they are here. And this is Wildcat. We need some more muscle in our corner. Do something, kid. And the kid says, what? I'm 15 years old. And then he curses here. These are cursing. Our superheroes know what I'm saying? I have 0 qualifications. And Huntress is like, this child's in control of that. And then Wonder Woman here. And these genies are fighting. And the pink one says, JJ, you have to help me. You have to use the word. And that's him, JJ here. And then he curses again, probably saying like, I don't know, think of a word. Just kill them. What's the word? And Wonder Woman says, you've inherited Johnny Thunder's Thunderbolt, JJ. And you're not the first frightened ordinary young man to find himself gifted with enough power to pull the stars from the sky. Use it wisely. Johnny's word of command was, say you. This is your turn to be a superhero, JJ. I don't know how she would remember all that with all the adventures that superheroes go with. And so the blue one says, see, my power shattered as easily as I shattered the battlements of reality. Say you, go kick that blue, and then curses here. Wait. And then JJ says, where'd he go? What did? And Wonder Woman says, you have to be very specific on how you phrase your command. Holy. And so suddenly there's the pink one. Kick that big blue. And and look at the buildings kind of getting toppled. That's a lot of destruction here. And so this is Azazel. Oh my god. Zauriel. This was what Grant Morrison decided to do instead of Hawkman, just to create the new character here. So, any ideas, says Ariel, and the old Green Lantern. I forgot what he's called now. But this is the original Green Lantern, Sentinel. And he says, I'm thinking about the energy needed to do something like this. And Zariel says, this is the most ingenious, most evil prison I've ever seen. And original Green Lantern, yes, Sentinel. We're certainly up against a brilliant, twisted intellect. And you can see this is the hand of the Spectre here and here. Or perhaps it's just a 5-dimensional logic at work. Whatever it is, if we don't find a way to free the Spectre from this trap, we're on our own against the power that embedded him here. And Zariel says, so do we leave the spirit of wrath entombed and face the armies of the fifth dimension without his aid? Or do we use our own might to shatter this fastness and murder every living thing here? And it's these creatures here. Our enemy wants to make this decision very difficult. One for us, Sentinel. He knows time is short. Time. That's what I was thinking. Time passes much faster here. Have you noticed? Since I became mortal, I've struggled to make sense of time, as you do. In heaven, time isn't something that passes it, he says. Whatever it does, Ariel, we can make it go faster here. Do you follow me? We can accelerate this little world through time until the whole place ages to destruction. And Zariel says, but these creatures will have lifespan measured in eye blinks. And Sentinel says, they won't know that, Zariel. Billions may die on Earth, and right now I have no more humane alternatives. Do you? And so he says, stand back. The green flame will do what has to be done. So essentially they're going to make an entire evolutionary, they're going to go super fast here. So 10,000 years went by the time it took Zariel and me to return to the mountains. We watched civilizations rise and fall, rise again like tides. After half an hour, the angel went down to see how things had changed, and they built a temple around him. It had already crumbled by the time he opened his mouth to speak. His first word took 750 years to say. At the speed they were advancing, he must have seemed to them like some impossible silent statue enduring 4 generations. The green flame spits, sensing danger in the frontiers of reality. Time is running out. These harmless red creatures have discovered how to extract energy from the specter. And all we can do is sit and wait for this little world to end. So, again, early computer coloring. It is what it is. I'm not too thrilled for it, but this is where comics evolved, and eventually this is where they had it. So I guess you can say they were just ahead of the curve. So we're back to Keystone City, and JJ says, did you see that Thunderbolt nuked the... And then again curses here. And Wonder Woman says, young man, I don't mind saying I find your language to be lacking subtlety. The blue genie will attack again. He could come from anywhere in any form, and we need you to... And then Wonder Woman says, there, as she points with her sword. Ease, your fool cannot command you, but mine has given me power over the earth. All flesh, every atom, mine to bend and shape like clay. And Eve says you. So, and then the blue one laughs. When the child is dead, you will be my slave, says the blue one. And he's firing on the JLA here as they are running. And then there's a flash all the way up back here. I will command you to rain desolation down upon these beasts you love. And is hit by the Huntress, and it hurts him. And then Flash catches him, and he says, I've got him. Jay, bullets are all mine, Wally. Can't you get us some JLA backup here? Says the original Flash. I've been trying to call, and then something happens. You can see, no. And Jay Garrick says it's acting as insulation against the speed for Wally. And Huntress says the flashes are down. We can't do this on our own. What's happening on the watchtower? Where are the big guys when we need them? Says Huntress. And so now we're in Gotham City. We got Batman here. Steel and Superman should be on duty, but there's no response. Our people are stretched beyond the limit in Keystone, Batman, even with the JSA pitching in. Everything's going to chaos, Bruce. We can't contain it anymore. And so Batman says, "Yes, we can. I've been researching previous contacts with the fifth dimension. It turns out that Superman isn't the only current Justice Leaguer to have encountered an inhabitant of the higher planes." And he goes, "Ah, here he is now. Uh, stay on open channels, Oracle." And Aquaman says, "I got your message. One of the perks of commanding the Royal Atlantean submarine bombardiers. I have a teleporter on board, Batman. You asked about Quisp." And so now we're in the fifth dimension, and we've got Green Lantern Kyle Rayner. He was the Green Lantern at this time. Him and Captain Marvel are both in the fifth dimension, which is kind of very weird. You can see here that how it is here. And so here's Captain Marvel, Shazam, as he is now known, but it's always Captain Marvel to him here. So they're trying to put themselves kind of together here. Um, and Kyle's like, "Who's in charge of the fifth dimension?" And Captain Marvel says, "You haven't met our host yet, Green Lantern. Be careful." And suddenly you can see him getting plucked out. And he's like, "You five-dimensional coward." And the whoever this is says, "This is my world, little flat man, higher in the scale than yours. In your tin world, you wield great power, but here in the overworld, you are of less substance than the shadows on my wall. I have moved freely through time and hypertime. I can penetrate your reality at any level and control it. You have no power here." And so look at this. Look at how it's drawn. That's actually pretty cool. And Captain Marvel's like, "No, you're torturing him." And he says, "Shall I tell you why you're here? First, let me make myself less complex. There, I want you to understand what I am. My description is Quisp. Lately, I came visiting your world to see my old opponent Aquaman once more. There, I found two princes of the fifth dimension, Lix and Ease, trapped in your third. When I saw how much Aquaman had changed, I thought, what a sport it would be if I were to change like him." And the Green Lantern says, "My ring's just making meaningless shapes." And Captain Marvel's like, "Ugh, even the strength of Hercules is useless here. What does he mean by..." And here this thing says, "War, war, it's war between the colors. Lix can never be is, and is can never be Lix. Result, war, war, war." And Quist says, See the mischief I have made? The fifth dimension in turmoil, the third in ruins. I have woven a merry web of chaos, and now Aquaman." And so you can see I wonder how he described this, Morrison, on paper. "Direct your energy this way, Green Lantern. There, I spotted this window, and it struck me that our relative lack of dimension, of dimension in this world might not necessarily be a hindrance. Not when we can pass effortlessly through the tiniest cracks. Come on, hurry. This is way too weird," says Green Lantern. And so here they are in this weird fifth dimension. "It's you and me against the fifth dimension, Cap. But trust me, in in a world this crazy, you are the guy I want on my side." And Captain Marvel says, "I guess that's the compliment. Now, how do we stop a war between two colors and save the universe?" So, back to the JLA watchtower here. Steel keeps going through, and then here's Our Man, and Our Man appears before him, and he says, "I cannot attack Triumph directly. He is invisible to my time senses. Superman is still suffering from the effects of Captain Marvel's blows. He will regain consciousness in 18 minutes 37 seconds." And Steel says, "Our Man, are you answering a question I was about to ask? Captain Marvel, look, my eyebrows are raw, And if I can just get to my workshop, and Hourman says, I know, and I have good news for you, Dr. Irons. Your workshop is directly below us, and we have very little time. However, and someone must shortly die. So, now we're in Keystone City, and Wildcat says, this whole thing's turned ugly. We're putting up a hell of a fight, but we don't have superpowers. And Huntress says, we're still alive, Wildcat, and we're still sane. And I'd have gone crazy earlier if it wasn't for you two. When this is over, I want to join the Justice Society. And they look here. The boy, JJ. And so Quisp comes and says he can hear you, but he can't answer right now. And Wonder Woman says, merciful Minerva, can you feel the malevolence? And Huntress says, what is it? And here comes Batman, I believe. Hello, my name is Quisp. I'm Aquaman's greatest foe and probably the JLA's too. And I've decided to play a game. I don't know. I think it's Wildcat, not Batman. My bad. If you really want to avert a war no one can win, you have only one choice. So come now, show this child the meaning of true heroism. So, which of you will give your life here and now to save your world? And you better hurry up. And here we see Licks here, big. And it says, Licks, no, you'll destroy everything. JJ, where are you? So, what do I do? And so, we are almost done here. And so the computer goes, JLA down, help required urgently. And Triumph says, listen to that, they're finished. Both flashes are unusual weather pattern. This is Oracle. Why? Urged not to panic. And Triumph says, now it's our turn. The ultimate villain has just beaten the combined forces of the JLA and the Justice Society. All seems to be lost, but never fear. Triumph is back, leading a new JLA to victory, saving the world from the forces of evil. And here they go. I like this panel here. Him holding the capes as he's walking. And then here we go. As Aquaman and Batman are waiting for him. This looks just so very cool. So that is it. That is the last page. We're done with our story here. JLA number 30 from 1999, written by Grant Morrison, penciled by Howard Porter, and inks by John Dell. Like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.